I'm waiting for my laundry to be done. Sorry, it's kind of noisy. And I'm just kind of thinking about tomorrow's sermon. I'm going to be preaching at Colchester Chinese Church, and I'm thinking about a question: would we submit to a younger leader? We're looking at Josiah. He's 8 years old when he becomes a king, and would we submit to a young king who is 8 years old? And yeah, I know Josiah is 26 when he really starts making those changes, but he's still quite young. And the idea is not just that would we submit to a younger pastor or younger boss, but actually someone who's much, much younger than us, much different from us. And honestly, I think I would find that really challenging. Partly because all the good leaders that I know in church, that we have here in our churches, they tend to be the same. There tends to be a kind of pattern of leadership, of character that we look up for, such that you can see that's why they chose those kind of persons, and they share that same kind of perspective about God and about loving people. But yeah, there's something about different kinds of leaders, different kinds of people who can still love God and can still be used by God, and who might be used by God, let's just done, to challenge us. To challenge us to not just look at our leaders, but ultimately to look at Jesus. To see how Jesus, he's actually much more loving, much more humble, and much more effective as a leader than even the best of our pastors. And Jesus being Jesus and us being us means, Jesus can use anyone, even the most different person, for his purposes, so that we look not to just our leaders, but ultimately to him. I wonder, if God really wanted to refresh the church in terms of its love for very, very different people, it makes sense. It makes sense to me that he would use very, very different kinds of leaders. And therefore the challenge again is, would we submit? Would we even look to and try to appoint such leaders in our church to lead us to Christ, to reach out to different kinds of people? Yep, just done. See you tomorrow, Colchester Chinese Church. I have to write the sermon.